All right, everyone.
I'll stick around
Today's
afterwards.
presenter will be longtime detective and current Manhattan Police Department Sergeant Michael Holdford.
Hello.
And he will be talking to us about safety, security, and fraud.
It's kind of a broad topic. You'll see as we get into this. Some of you may remember me. I miss all of my counterparts with TRIAD. I used to be very involved in it. But as careers go, you progress and you move into different arenas. So I just want to get into a little bit about who I am. I've been in public safety. So I've worked fire and EMS. I've worked law enforcement. I've worked in the dispatch center, and I've worked out in the field. I've been a supervisor. I've been a manager. I've done a lot of stuff, and I'm tired. But I've been doing this since about 1992 when I started as an Explorer Scout with the Fresno Police Department. But as I said, I've done law enforcement, fire, and EMS. I've also worked on private security. I've done in-house security at some water amusement parks out in California. As I said, I've worked in California and Illinois, and I started with Manhattan in June of 2007. Now, just to give you an idea of what it looked like in 1992, this is what 30 years in public safety will do to you. These are some of the agencies that I've worked for. Or worked with, had alliances with, working either through their communications center or working in the field for them. So I've been around the block a little bit. I've worked patrol. I was assigned to investigations in 2016. I was the first full-time detective that Manhattan ever had. I was assigned to the Will Grundy Major Crimes Task Force. I was a member of the International Financial Crimes Investigators Association. I was a member of the Illinois Homicide Investigators Association. I left the task force as a division commander. I've had supervisory and command experience in patrol administrations. I did the public safety community night with Jackie back there, and as I was talking to several in the front, I do the Citizens Police Academy. That's with Officer Kiltika, and then I was part of TRIAD. So let's talk about safety, okay? And it starts with you. It's not a very complex topic. It's talking about feeling safe, right? I mean, that's in the word, but it's how you feel about it. You could feel safe and not be safe. You could not feel safe and be real safe. You control the risk factors and you tend to feel more safe. They don't need to be more complicated. Simple means they're easy to remember and work in your daily lives, because you don't want to have a very complex code to punch into your door, right? Because if you have to get in and out, you want to be able to get in quickly if you have to, right? And if the house is on fire and you're inside the house, you don't want to have some complex set of locks to have to get out of the house, right? So you want to make sure that you're safe, both from protecting what's outside from getting in, but you getting out if you have to. Here's some tips to ponder. I really got to fix this thing because it's not, I put too many skips in here instead of just putting the slides up. So forgive me, I'm going to go through some of this so I can have the full slide up. So it's impossible to cover everything. It would take me, 16 hours to go over all of the stuff that we would need to talk to, because safety includes the fire stuff. I'm more talking about just the security of the building. I'm not going to go into too much of the fire safety stuff because I know how to stay in my lane. So keeping important phone numbers by everybody's got cell phones now. Does anybody still have a home landline? Okay, if you have one of those and you don't keep your cell phone with you at all times, make sure that you have some of these numbers right by your phone. Because when you need them, you need to know where they're at, and they need to be somewhere close to what you're going to be using. Those of us that have cell phones, make sure that they're programmed into your phone and that they have easy to remember titles. Your primary care physician, your emergency notification, that's important for those of us on the public safety side. If something happens to you and we need to get a hold of somebody, if we can get into your phone, that's who we're going to call, okay? But poison control, ComEd, NICOR, all of those, some people don't think that they're important to have. If you start smelling gas in your house, the first place you're going to call is the fire department. But if you're having an ongoing problem with it, you're probably going to want to get a hold of NICOR, okay? There's another program, another PowerPoint that I do where I talk about neighborhoods and SEPTED and some different things like that. It's important for those of us that live in the communities we live in, because most of them are safe. You have to have some neighbors that you know and trust. And if you know those neighbors and you trust them, trust that they'll know, when you're away from home, have them keep an eye on the house so that they can call the police. Every police department here has, and I think the sheriff's department also has, vacation watches. If you're leaving for any period of time, let us know. We'll come out, we'll do some extra patrols on your house while you're not there. When you're out, I just had some family and friends from out of state come in and stayed in Chicago over the weekend. And they asked me, how safe is it in Chicago? And I said, it's no less safe than anywhere else you would go in the world. Because you can't think of, yes, Chicago's a dangerous place, but this place is safe. They both have risks, right? Because if they didn't, why would we have police departments in our little thing? Why wouldn't the sheriff's department just cover everything, right? So what I said was that they needed to just make sure they're showing that they're paying attention to their surroundings. They're not doing this the whole time. You see so many people when you watch the news and you watch TV, if people just... Can you see anything going on around you if that's going on? So make sure you are paying attention to your surroundings when you're out. And that includes out in your own front yard. If you see something, say something. Okay? We have, and I know that New Lenox has had this as well, is that when we take burglary and theft reports in the early morning, we'll have neighbors that will come out and say, what happened? I'll say, well, we're taking a burglary report. I saw somebody last night. I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and get a drink of water, and I looked out my front window, and I saw somebody walking down the street, and I should have called. If it makes you look twice, you should call, because you know who's supposed to be in your neighborhood and you know who's not. And even if it's a mistake and it's just some neighbor that's wearing a hoodie because it's chilly outside, we would much rather you call to have us come out and check to make sure that it's just one of your neighbors saying, hey, they just were concerned that somebody was out here. Enjoy your walk, have a good night. Trust in us that we're not gonna, just come and grab them, throw them against the car and do all kinds of rough stuff. We've been trained in 2025 policing. How many people would answer their door if they didn't know who it was? You'd be surprised the number of people that we get calls from that say, I can't get this person away from my door. And they open the door and they're already engaged with them. And because we all feel polite and we were all raised with manners, that's what we do, right? We want to talk to them. But sometimes these sales pitches and these solicitors that go door to door, they're trained in how not to let you get away from their, because they want the sale. And if you shut the door on them, do they get the sale? So they're going to keep you talking. Okay, one more thing. Did you know that we have this? And I know you don't want this, but how about this? So if you don't know who it is, don't answer your door. And you can always call us to come check on them if you'd like. Now, I know the first point kind of goes without saying, but again, so many, in the 19 years I've worked in Manhattan, I think I've been aware of 2 burglaries to a car that were legitimate burglaries, meaning somebody broke the window or busted the lock to get in. The rest of the thousands of burglaries that we've taken over those years have been because somebody didn't lock their car door. So I put it up here because people forget. And that's one of the things we need to remember to do. There used to be a program called the 9 p.m. routine. At 9 o'clock, an alarm should go off and you should be like, did I lock the outdoors? Is my garage door shut? Is the outer door shut? Do I have my outside lights on? Are my cars locked? Is the trailer that I have hooked up locked? All of those things. And then again, make sure your locks are easy to use in case you need to get out in an emergency. So you don't want any complex set of, the draw chain, the push lock, the pull, the twist, just a simple lock will do. If they want to get in, they're going to get in, and you don't need to try to make it harder for you to get out. Again, the risk to which side? Make sure your exterior lights are on. Now, I say this knowing that the cost of electricity can be kind of on the high side more than not. But again, it's easier for us while we're patrolling to see who's around your house if we can see the side of your house. I work nights now, and I will tell you that a lot of the neighborhoods that I drive through in Manhattan, there are sections of streets where it's like they all got on the same page, and they're like, you know what, let's just turn our lights off and we'll all sleep better because it'll be much darker out here. And you're right, it is. But then I'm driving through and I can't see anything except for what's in front of me in my headlights. I mean, there could be a burglar standing right by a window like this, waiting for me to drive by because they're wearing all dark clothing. And unless I turn on all my spotlights and alley lights and all the special lights that I got on the car just to see around me, which then goes into your window and then we get complaints from that, I can't see. Now, this next tip that I'm going to give you, I'm going to get in trouble for if my wife sees this. Because right now my backyard is so far out of whack, it's not even funny. I'm trying to find special equipment to be able to get through the weeds and bushes and the yard stuff that I have to trim back because I've been on vacation and my kids play sports and I work. So every weekend that I have off that I could do it, it's either raining or storming or I'm out of town. But I'm working on it. So you do the same. Try to make sure that your front yard, at least, is neat and tidy. And the reason that I say this is there are houses that can have big bushes and trees and things. Well, if I'm patrolling on the street, I can't see the windows to your house. If the window to your house is broken, if the front door to your house is wide open at 3 o'clock in the morning, do you want me to know about that? You want me to come check on you, right? If I can't see it, because I can't pull into every driveway that has trees and bushes like that, right? So just make sure that we can see the main points of your home. I'm not trying to ask you because some of your yards are absolutely beautiful. I bought a house that had a lot of trees and shrubs in it because I wanted to have that kind of aesthetic design to my yard. However, I have to keep it more trim, and so as years have gone on, I've taken some of those out. Keep a first aid kit in your home and in your car. Again, simple stuff, kind of common sense. And then keep your alarm systems and your home surveillance system. How many people have Ring doorbell cameras? Any other home camera systems that you might have? Anybody have any of those? They are huge. In 2025, I will tell you this. Our state's attorneys, and I say this as a broad spectrum, I'm not singling out the Will County State's Attorney's Office, but I'm talking just in general. These cameras are becoming vital or have become vital to the criminal prosecution of anybody that damages your property or steals from your property. It also gives us huge leads and we can tell what they look like. Now they wear gloves and they have masks and things like that, but the video is still an important piece if we can tell what kind of car they're in, that kind of thing. It gives us something to go on. So having those is good, but once you have all of those, if you already have the alarm systems, make sure they're up and running, that you have the periodic checks, make sure they come out and make sure all the sensors are working properly and that you're, up and running on stuff. So we talked about the locks, right? Looks pretty sturdy, doesn't it? But you don't want to have a key on both sides. The interior needs to be a knob because I don't know the number of times, again, 30 years in public safety and fire and EMS, that somebody's had one of those locks that for some reason they have the key on the inside and that key gets pulled from the door. And then when we have to get in, we have to break through that kind of a lock. Okay? You can see the little knob that we're talking about on the inside. So that it's just one of these turn knobs. Does everybody over there see that? On the brown door, right above the handle? That's what I'm talking about on the inside. It's a great deterrent. What do you think? Now I can see who's in the front of my house. And again, this is what you would give us, and this is what we would go on. And in small communities like ours, oftentimes it's giving you the peace of mind back that, Officer Burke, how many times have we taken calls where we've taken a picture of somebody or that came from their Ring doorbell, turned out to just be a neighbor? And it wasn't that anything was broken, but the resident was scared. And when we told them it was just Jimmy from down the street. Oh, I'll go talk to Jimmy and we'll figure out why he was over here. He probably had to bring me something. But until we knew it was Jimmy, they were scared. Now, sometimes you can catch some really weird things, but the good side is you might be able to make money on it. I know there are YouTube channels and different things. Sell it. You can make a lot of money from what I've heard. I just want to point out this, there's a shadow in the back behind that, whatever that is. So, technology is a great thing. We all have these to our cars now, right? I can start my car without a key anymore, right? Just a little push button. But the thing about these is it sends a signal. If it sends a signal, it can be intercepted. So now they're stealing the programmers from the dealerships. So if you have one of those, they can still steal your car because they get blank ones from the dealership and the programmer, and they go up to your car and they punch in the codes, punch in the VIN, and it programs the key, and now they have a key to your car. Like I said, for everything we try to do to prevent crime, the criminals work equally as hard, if not a little bit harder, to counter. And then we work harder to prevent that. And then they work harder to prevent that. And it's
No,
I gotta.
when they make those key fobs,
Mm-hmm.
like my car, if you open the door and you don't have the key, the alarm will go off.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have the capability of turning the alarm off?
If they have the programmer and a blank key fob, it's like they have your keys. The car doesn't know the difference because it's just, oh, you got a spare key. Because if you lost your key, you'd go to the dealership. Basically, the criminals are now going into the dealership, stealing the tools that your dealership would give you if you lost your key and you needed a spare. And they're just doing it in your driveway. Yes?
I had a problem with my key fob. Just to mention it to you. We came home from the house, from my first stop. Later on, we looked, and why is the car running in the garage?
Mhm.
The key fob fit in the purse. So I took it, it happened twice to us. I took it in, and they reprogrammed it, so I have to get it multiple times
Mhm.
before the car will start. And then the other thing is, we got the last car, we put one of those little, or whatever they call those things.
Mhm.
Air tags in, so I know what the car's in.
Yes. And again, cars are computers now. We can't fix them like we used to. You can't just get a couple of wrenches and a rubber mallet and a screwdriver or two and be able to fix any part of your car. You have to have computers. You've got to have a USB connector with a computer with the program to reprogram it, because every time it's reprogrammed into your car, the car gets an update that says, hey, we told you to do it this way, but now you got to do it this way. So there's a computer in your car, just like we have here. And it works the same way computers work here. Now, I got to update my stats, but the National Insurance Crime Bureau, they're the ones that talk about, they take all the claims for stolen and damaged cars. In 2021, there were 100,000 thefts that were related to key fobs, which was 11% of the total number of motor vehicle thefts in the country. Now, that's 4 years ago. Just think about what it is now that they're stealing the key fobs more, the programmers more commonly. So some of these cars have these nice little neat little places for you to put your key holder thing in there so that it sits there and you always know where it's at and you'll never lose your keys, right? Because you carry the spare in your purse or in your pocket, right? They'll see that. They don't care about your window. They want your car. Now, in the 20s and 30s, the way that people, the most common crime was bank robbery, right? Bonnie and Clyde and Babyface Nelson. Those were the criminals of those days, right? Had to be in person, had to be with a weapon, had to be force fear, had that kind of stuff, right? Then we move into the 80s, the 60s and 70s. It's kind of more spread out. It's not just banks, but now they're robbing, grocery stores and gas stations and everything else, right? So they're moving around. As we progress, things change, right? Everything is done by computer now, right? Your banking. How many people still go into their bank on a regular basis? Good, as you should. But how many don't? How many do it from their computer or their phone? I do. If I spent more time at the bank, I'd get yelled at for not doing the yard work. So everybody does it by computer now. So this is the way people are learning to steal money. As I said, every time we put a security feature in there, what do the bad guys do? Find a way to counter it the same way we put it in there. So they can steal your identity, they can steal your personal information, they can steal your account numbers. And you'll find that it rarely goes on major news networks except for as a 5-minute blurb. There was a breach of security in the, I'm trying to think of a big business that would have that. At your hospital or at the school district. Okay? You had to give all that information to become a member, to become a patient, to do all those different things, right? Including your social security number, your date of birth, your address, your phone number, all those different little things that you had. And all of those things were programmed into a part of a computer. They target that, they take it, and they use it. And they create fake personalities. They can then use their photos to become you. They forge documents. They use non-existent phone numbers and addresses to plug in with your personal identifying information to create accounts at Best Buy, at Amazon, all these different, online purchasing places because they don't check. Amazon loses, 25% of their packaging. They're still making more money hand over fist because now it's between the bank and Amazon and it has nothing to do with you except your identity was used to make that transaction. So common types of scams include phishing email scams. They target consumers by sending them an email that appears to be from a well-known source to gather personal information or money. No major bank, financial institution, law enforcement agency, nobody that is interested in protecting your security is going to send you an email that says, hey, there was an attempt on your account. Please click here to reset your security. We don't do that. Fire departments don't do it. They won't send for, hey, we're collecting for this, special organization. Please click here to submit a donation. They're not doing that. They don't solicit that way. We don't solicit that way for Special Olympics, which is the primary one we do. We ask you to come out and watch us jump in cold water. And we go to sit on top of Dunkin' Donuts rooftops. You come to us. You see us face to face. We don't serve warrants over the phone. We don't call you up and say, you have a warrant for your arrest for those parking tickets you got last year. You need to send me, go to Walmart, get some Green Dot Money gift cards, and send me the codes and scratch the number off the back so that I can get that money, and then I'll take care of that warrant for you. We don't do that. And it sounds convincing. If anybody has fallen victim to this, do not feel embarrassed. They make this stuff work. I know police officers that have fallen victim to these scams. So you just need to be aware of them. Greeting card scams. They're legitimate e-card companies to send emails claiming family members have sent them an e-card. Now, hopefully you know your family well enough to know who's going to send you something and who's not. And I'm pretty sure that most of those e-card companies have gone out of business because they did an expose on them and everybody kind of just, I think their stuff dropped off. I don't know, I haven't checked, but. Romance scams. Now, they target our older communities because we have a lot of widowers and divorcees that tend to be on our side of the age spectrum. They target the part that is the hardest for us to protect. If we're home and we're lonely, and we're not talking to anybody and our family's not around as much as they used to be, and somebody starts sending us emails that sound nice and we start chatting with them and we start talking, and eventually they tell you, hey, I need to send you some packages that I need you to resend here. And then I'm going to send you a check. And they test things. And romance scams will take a very long time. They're dedicated to scouting you and making you an arm of their criminal enterprise, even unknowing. So again, all of these scams, if you ever get an email, if you ever get a phone call, if you ever have any of these kinds of things where you think it just might be, call us. Please, please, please. I'm begging, please call us. And I'm begging on behalf of the New Lenox Police Department, the Mokina Police Department, the Will County Sheriffs, the Frankfort Police, call us, please. We would much rather come out and help prevent a scam from being successful, then have to take the report and try to help you rebuild your credit and recover lost money. Lottery scams. Who knows about those? Anybody know about those? Does anybody play the lottery? Can't play if you, or can't win if you don't play. I don't play though. Basically, they're going to send you an email that says, hey, you won the lottery. If you don't play, you didn't win. And based on this room, I think there were only a couple of hands that went up. So if you played and you might win, I don't think they send them by email anymore. So here's how it works. You receive an email. Now, what you don't know is that they need to launder some money. So they're going to offer to make you rich. Now, it requires some upfront fees, but you're going to get those all back because you're going to be rich, remember? And unfortunately, if you fall for it, sometimes they take your identity. And most of the time, these are being done because they're either by phone or by email. They're in another country. Now, what do you think that has? What kind of aspect do you think that has for law enforcement side of it? I can find them, but I can't get any. Yep. I can basically tell you where they are and where they're coming from. Now, I know this is going to be hard since I went over here on the last one. Sum of $85,500,000. Claim must be made no later than 3 weeks' time. Business is 100% legal. If they were 100% legal, would they need to tell you they're 100% legal? Risk-free and should be handled with utmost urgency and confidentiality. Right? Seems legit. He says he's from a personal attorney of Francis Hole, who's the president and CEO of the HGMT, incorporated in France, herein referred as my client. On the 2nd of September 1995, 229 passengers on board from New York's JFK to Geneva, Switzerland, crashed catastrophically off the coast of Nova Scotia, vanished from radar near Nova Scotia. Tells this big sob story about how she was on the plane with her 3 children, and 215 members lost their lives. And he has taken it upon himself to find the next of kin to the possible claim of that much money. Man, I wish I were that lucky. How many people would buy this? Anybody? Come on, somebody would. All right, thank you, because I would too. I'd at least click on it once, and that's called clickbait. So here's another one. Now, this one's a little different, because if you look at the top, can everybody see that? I tried to make this as big as I could on here. It says Bank of America, but what does the email address say? Yeah, but what's the first part? Does that even have B of A anywhere in it? Does it even have a person's name? And wouldn't it be at bofa.com? This is the one I was talking to you where it says, hey, there's suspicious activity on your account, and we need you to sign into your account by clicking right there. Now, how many people know that if you run your cursor over a hyperlink, does everybody know that this is called a hyperlink? It's blue and it's underlined, so it's a hyperlink. What that means is if you click on this set of text, it will send you somewhere else. But if you hover your mouse over that text, it will tell you where it's sending you first. It's not even sending you anywhere in the United States. This is a foreign country. Okay? But it looks legit, right? I mean, how would they get that logo? Later on, I'll show you. Well, if I have time, I'll show you. But it's very simple to do that. The snippet tool on your computer can make all kinds of stuff. So now the victim is selling something online. The anxious buyer needs the item immediately. The buyer must ship the item after receiving the check. The check is forged. The item is already sent. See how they just moved some stuff over? 165 is not the, an additional $100 out of their account is not the worst of it, but it's not, is it going to the same person? And if that's the person that requested it, yeah, they're getting an extra $100. Telephone scams. These are the ones that I think affect us the most because we like to chat, don't we? We grew up before computers and cell phones and things like that. We are about face-to-face. And if we can't have face-to-face, we're at least about talking to someone. We don't like the text messaging stuff, or my fingers don't work as well as they used to, and I can't find the letters, and my hands are, anyway. So this is where I think we get hit a lot. But it would be great if our cell phones could just have that up there, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. Just register the phones. Oh, it's a scammer. Well, just go ahead and reject that call. Yeah, I get possible solicitor or possible spam, but I don't get the scam one. But yeah, same thing. I still don't answer it. Since they camped, we have to be cautious of spam calls because that's basically what they're doing. They're talking to you while they're stealing something and we're not even paying attention. Now, I can't speak for any businesses anywhere. I know that I used B of A's thing as a part of it. I'm not speaking for that company. But what I can tell you is that in my experience, I have never heard of a legitimate banking industry, hospital, or all those other things that we talked about calling you to solicit funds, to ask you to submit, give me your username and password and I can go in there. Here's the other one. You call a number that you think is for computer, fix your computer. I got a bug I got a virus in my computer. It's not working like it used to. I can't get it to work. So I'm going to call this helpline. The scammers are now advertising on Google so that when you click and say, oh, well, I'll just call this one. This is from the company I got my computer from. I'll go there. They're able to make B of A look legit, so they make themselves look like Hewlett Packard, like any of the number of, what computer is this, Burke?
This is a HP Pavilion.
HP. All these different computer companies out there, they'll say, I am tech services with this company. I want you to go to this website. Log me in. What's the other ones that they use for the meetings and such? Our IT. Not those where they connect into your computer and like Leading IT does it. I'll remember it at some point. They connect to your computer and you can watch them. Well, they can do it through Zoom, but I don't think they get the full access. They get access to the program that you have. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I know that they can get into your computer, and once they're in there, you'll say, okay, I'm going to turn it off and unplug it. They're already in. If you have anything that's connected to the cloud, they can get back into your computer. So you have to be careful. You have to take it to someone you trust. Call the police department. We'll help you find someone that can help fix it. Yes?
Have you seen The Beekeeper, the movie The Beekeeper?
Not yet. I've wanted to.
That is a really good movie. It tells a lot about that.
Beekeeper. Movie The Beekeeper. Apparently it's got a lot of stuff on that. I'm going to watch it now. I still have a few more days of vacation. I'll look it up. Is it in theaters?
It's violent. It was.
Okay.
It's violence. It's little kids should watch it.
I'm far from a little kid anymore. The call could be as simple as asking you a generic question to recording, saying yes. Because then they use your voice to go into other systems that all they need is your voice to say yes. And then it covers their voice when they're not doing it. Now, the grandparents bail scam. We've seen this around here. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Your phone rings. How many people have grandchildren? If you wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I say, Grandma, what's the first thing you're going to say? Now they know your grandchild's name and they're going to ride that train because they think you think that's who it is. And they call in the middle of the night for two reasons. One, because that's when a lot of people get arrested. But number two, they know that you're likely sleeping. And so when I say in the middle of the night, it could be as early as 10 p.m., 11 p.m., because I go to bed early sometimes. But that's how they're going to catch you. And this is one I don't think I could ever, you really have to work and train yourself for this, is that if you answer a phone in the middle of the night, you better wake up before you start talking. Because once they're in, or at least recognize that, hey, yeah, I may have said, Grandpa, Stevie, is this you? Yeah, it's me, Stevie. I got in some trouble. I'm at the jail and I need money. Okay, Stevie, what jail are you at? I'm at the one downtown. Or even worse than that, I'm in Denver. And I got arrested we were at a party and now I need money sent here. Hang up the phone and call. And the first thing they're going to do is, don't tell mom and dad I called. The first thing you should do is what? Call mom and dad. Call your children to find out where their children are.
I got that one about 10 years ago. And I said, who is this? It's your grandson. Don't you recognize it? I said, who is this? It's your grandson. I said, he's 2 years old. Because he was 2 at the time, And they hung up.
So these are just some things you can avoid avoid being a victim of fraud. And while we do get that caller ID, don't necessarily believe that it's somebody else, because they can spoof it. And if they've spoofed it and you pick up the phone and it's not who it says it is, know that they've got more information on you than you think that they do, and you should just hang up the phone right away. Don't pay up front. Unless you're going to a service that you've used before, it's trusted, you know it, because otherwise how are you going to purchase anything? You can't order food if you don't pay for it up front. However, cash is always better if you're doing drive-through or delivery. Don't stay on robocalls. Don't press the button that says you'd like to end the call. Nothing, just hang up. Unless you know who sent you a check personally, or you're expecting an insurance check because you may have been in a car accident or something, don't deposit it. The Federal Trade Commission has loads of information. This is just basically going over the same stuff. We're not going to ask for your username or password. Don't send your password to bank accounts to other private, don't even, talk to them on the phone and say it. And even that's becoming somewhat risky now, but it's much safer than sending it because once it's out there, just picture it's flying out in the air and all they got to do is grab it. And I know this says, always remember that the Manhattan Police Department, that goes for everybody. That's New Lenox, Frankfort, Mokina, the sheriff's office, wherever you may live. Your police department is there to help prevent these things. We would much rather prevent scams and fraud than to take the reports and help you. Because again, all we're going to basically do is send you to the Federal Trade Commission, because they have all of the tools to help you rebuild your credit and secure your identity. Because once it's been stolen, it's out there. I thank you all for your time. I thank you all for your attention. I hope I made this informative and fun, because I know this can sometimes be somewhat of a dry topic, especially about the computer stuff. But it's the way of the world now. And so hopefully you guys took something from it. The one thing that I would love for you to take most of it is, if you have questions about this, if there was anything that I didn't make clear to you and you have more questions about, you can always go to your local police department. We are happy to help and talk with you anytime about any of these topics. Okay? Thank you again.
TRIAD works to improve the quality of life for seniors by providing an opportunity for the exchange of information between public safety, social services, and seniors. There are no membership papers to fill out or fees to pay. Everyone is welcome to attend. Each month, we present a guest speaker on subjects that keep you informed and up to date on the latest scams, frauds, and other criminal activities. We also discuss safety issues, home preparedness, and staying healthy. TRIAD meets the fourth Thursday of every month. Contact the New Lenox Police Department at 815-462-6100 for more information.